Yo, we talking about groceries on FBA. Yo, easy. Yeah. J to the O, the Mayos. Groceries on FBA. What you know about that? Step your game up, suck it.
Okay, so we're recording now. So if you have any questions, anything you want us to cover, I think it's really important that we understand exactly what the buy box, is and isn't, and what it does. And there's no real specific cut and dry rules. Like, there's not a lot of cut and dry rules that like people think. It's not, if I'm 2% within the buy box, it's going to rotate, and it's just not. It just doesn't work that way anymore. And I can have the buy box at the same time that you have the buy box to different people, and it depends a lot more on how quickly that Amazon can deliver products to the customer. So if one customer is in the East Coast in New York and another customer is in California, different people may get the buy box depending on where your products are. So if it's past the time, and this is just one example of one possible scenario that could be happening, but if UPS has already done picking up from one Amazon warehouse where your products may happen to be, and they're somewhere else. So, if your products are in Pennsylvania and the customer is, and that's in the Eastern time zone, and the customer is in Chicago in the Central time zone, and there's still products, that same product is available from another seller in California, and UPS is still picking it up, they can overnight that package to them, or they can still get them out that day. You get the 2-day prime shipping where they wouldn't have to pay for the overnight shipping, or it might not even be available to get delivered. So there's one thing that can happen. Another thing could be a lot to do with your metrics. If you had a couple negative feedbacks recently, your products may not be showing as much as somebody who hasn't had it. Amazon is big on recent history, and the recent history may have something to do with, you getting a negative feedback you didn't notice, or you getting neutral feedbacks, or a product gets returned because they said it didn't match exactly, and there's 100 other things that may not. There's 100 other things that may not, you may not even know about. Things that happen in your metrics you didn't know, and over days, those things could fall off again. But Amazon always wants to be more safe. And it doesn't matter if you have 10,000 positive feedback or 100 positive feedback. You get a couple negatives in a row, or complaints that you don't even know about, and these things are going to happen. Some other scenarios, could be your pricing, and sometimes you have to beat your competitors. Sometimes you have to beat Amazon. Sometimes they're just not going to give you, the buy box. They're not going to let you compete with them. Books is one thing. If it's a product that's eligible for the subscribe and save, for example, if they subscribe and save and Amazon's selling it, they very rarely give up the buy box. Now they're inviting other FBA sellers now to use the subscribe and save program. And if they have approval and you don't, or they have approval and they didn't even ask you to join, then they're going to get the buy box most of the time. Darlene wanted to know, does that mean she's going to get good preference for good metrics? And if you have good metrics, I wouldn't say that they're going to give you preferential treatment. I'm going to say that you know, you're going to be on the same level as somebody else. But if they get negative things happen, that it's going to drop them down. And, you know, it's happened to us. We get a negative feedback, and we see our sales drop. You know, instead of getting 100 or 200 sales a day, you know, we get 30 sales, and you can't figure out why. Well, now I know. Go check my feedback is the first thing. You get that feedback removed, and my sales just start going crazy again. And, you know, nobody knows the real answers to these, but, you know, what makes sense is those things. And, you know, what makes sense is probably what is happening. And of course, Amazon's always worried about the customer experience. And, you know, these things are, you know, have a big effect on you. And, you know, it could be something else. It could be a coincidence, but, you know, I really don't think so. Of course, you always want the best metrics. I mean, you should be checking your feedback every day, because they don't let you know when you have a negative feedback. So you need to go look at that. But I know there's a lot of metrics that you don't know about. There's no way to look it up. But I do know that they do affect, you know, your ability to sell. And maybe if, you know, you have 100 different items, and I know a lot of you guys are only selling, you know, 20 items or 10 items, or you just started selling on Amazon, it's not easy to see this, you know, because you could have sold 20 yesterday and sold none today. And that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with your metrics. But if you are selling 100 day after day after day, and you don't sell any, or you sell 10, then obviously something is going on. But every morning, you know, we check our feedback, our metrics, anything that may have caused those to drop, and we get those fixed as quickly as possible, because, you know, it makes sense that that's what's going on, and that's really what seems to be going on. As far as the buy box between merchant fulfilled and FBA, you know, for the most part, FBA is going to be, you know, always get preference over a merchant fulfilled seller. Sorry, one second. Sorry about that. You know, but there's a lot of cases where we've seen that it just doesn't work out that way. So if you're up, what we've seen is if you're primarily a FBA seller, or they're the primary FBA seller, and they merchant fulfill some items, you know, they're going to get preference just like they're an FBA seller with the merchant fulfilled products. Now, you know, of course, this doesn't happen every time. Nothing seems to be, you know, 100% for sure every time, but you know, it seems to work that way a lot. Of course, if the merchant fulfilled seller is selling for something for $20, you're selling it for $100, they may get good rotation in the buy box, and they may not. And, you know, I'm talking from personal experience, because as you may or may not know, that Amazon doesn't release any real information about the buy box. You know, they don't want to talk about it. They want to pretend that it doesn't, you know, that, you know, there's no rules, you know, so it's basically, you have to fend for yourself and figure it out. And that's what we've done, you know, through a lot of experience and tens of thousands of sales. You know, you learn these things, but you know, overall, Amazon doesn't release that information. So all we can do is use our group experience, and I talk to a lot of sellers, so I can see what's working for some and what's not working. Now, Santosh, did you have, or for the Santosh, yeah, did you have a specific question about merchant fulfilled and FBA? Because for the most part, I can tell you, and if anybody has looked at the Amazon app recently, at the top now, there's an option right at the top of the page to only look at Prime. And I know from a lot of experience that Amazon seller or buyers don't care about merchant fulfilled. Personally, after, you know, all the horrible, like every merchant fulfilled thing I bought probably were over $50 last year, I had the same problem with, or that I actually tried to return. You know, they don't respond to you. I've got a filter that, a pool filter I ordered that I got sent the wrong thing, and I filed for a return. I got an autoresponder that told me that we'll get back to you soon. And it's been about 2 weeks now. I already opened an A to Z claim because they won't respond to me and allow me to do a return. And, you know, and the same thing happened last year. I bought a handicapped toilet seat for about $300 for my parents and for Christmas, and it wasn't what was shown in the picture. It was nothing like it. So when I tried to return it, they never responded to me. Amazon had to force a return. And then once it got returned to them, it was over 6 weeks before they acknowledged it. And I had to call Amazon several times. And finally, they just gave me a refund after proving on multiple occasions that it was actually delivered. Just trying to get some of these other questions. Right. Okay. I don't want to get too far. I mean, this isn't really on the same thing, but Lally wanted to talk about the packing slips or other options by November 1st. Yeah. So, you know, what we've been using for a while now is Boxed. I really like Boxed. If you're using Scan Power, it's any of the paid options from $24 on up. It's included. It's it costs the same price. It's BOXT. If you want to try it out, you know, just go to scanpower.shawnmayo.com, and it's $24 from Amazon. I posted some videos. Chris Green did a walkthrough video. You basically, when you get done, you can there's just like a pull down and right in Scan Power. So if you're using Scan Power, you already have the information in there. But if you're not, it's going to pull the information out of the Seller Central. So really all you have to do is select what box it's going into. Now, I believe if you go, if you only are shipping one box at a time, you don't need that information. So Lally, if you're doing small shipments, then you don't even need to worry about that, because if you're sending in single box shipments, they don't need that information. If you're using multiple box shipments, we had tried some apps earlier in the year, but Boxed is a much better service. So if you're using Scan Power for listings, you have any of their paid things, then it's included. If not, it's $24 a month. And it's well worth it. Chris Green's made several videos doing weekly webinars showing you how to gear up. You know, and if you only want to do it for Q4, I mean, it costs $48. You know, you're going to pay for 2 more months for the rest of Q4, and that's all you got to worry about. You know, so in my opinion, it's well worth it, and it doesn't matter what listing service you're using. You don't have to be using Scan Power. You can use Seller Central for listing, Inventory Lab, or whatever other software, and you can still use Box. And you basically just select what box the stuff is going in. There is also a web form that you can fill out, but I believe it's like a total maximum of 30 items. So you know, filling out that spreadsheet, I think is kind of long and intricate. And if you can pay whatever it is, 75 cents extra a day to not have to deal with that, I really think it's worthwhile. And of course, if anybody needs help walking through that, we can help you out with that. Chris Green's always online. He can help you out. Yeah, I figured, Lally, you were only, last time I talked to you, you were shipping, you know, 1 box at a time. So you don't have to worry about that. You do have, right, you're using Scan Power already. So Boxed is included. You just go to boxd.scanpower.com and you log into your same account, and it's included in the price. So you don't have to worry about any of that. Now back to.
What do you do when sellers are inching the price down cent by cent?
There's nothing you can do. I did see that. I'm not sure if I had responded to that yet or not today. But you know, Sarah, I recommend that everybody has a repricer, and I recommend you don't use Amazon's because your competition is using a repricer. You can get them as low as $20. Right now, we're using Be Cool. It's bqool.com, and if you log into our site, we have a discount still for them, right? An extended trial and a discounted price, Valerie.
Well, with that, yeah.
But
I don't know. I'll have to talk to because I don't know if that's still in effect.
Okay, so if you go to the discount page in the Mastermind area on the website at ShawnMayo.com, it has all of our discounts. So we've got, I think, dozens of different tools that you can get a discount on. So if you just go there, you can see there's a link or a discount code to use, and it's for either an extended trial or a discounted price. But I think it's only $20 or $25 a month, and you select what you want your bottom price to be, what your highest price to be, and when those things happen, it's going to drop the price. When your competition, it's going to raise the price. So you know, your competition has a repricer. Now, the way it works, which I don't like about Amazon's own repricer, is if two people are using that repricer. So let's say you have your price at 20, somebody else has it at 10, and both of you have your minimum to $5. What it's going to do, if you use the Amazon repricer, it's going to take all the people who have prices set, and it's going to set it to whoever has the lowest price. So if somebody has it for $5 and somebody else has it for $8, and right now it's at $10 and $20, it's going to immediately go to that lowest price. The good thing, and repricing is good. It's great for listings because there's so many listings on Amazon. What happens is, before I get into that, I want to just, it's a third-party repricers. What they do is, it's like a competition thing. So if the repricer is going down, or you set your repricer to go down, let's say 5-cent increments. So, and it's repricing, let's say once every hour, once every 6 hours, depending on which plan you get. What's going to happen is your competition, if it's at $10, it's going to go down. They reprice by, let's say, 10 cents, and you reprice by 10 cents. So immediately when it goes through, it's going to go down to $9.90. And then when it's time for yours, it's going to go to $9.80. And then an hour later, because theirs is only set to reprice, or 6 hours later, because they're only set to reprice for 6 hours, you know, it's going to go to $9.70 and then $9.60. And it's going to be alternating once every hour, once every 6 hours. So if you're both set to, let's say, 6 hours, you know, you're only going to go down 40 cents a day until you get to the lowest price. But with Amazon's, they're all going to go down to $5 or whatever it is immediately. So you can see that such a big difference there. Now, the reason why you want repricers is that all your competition has it. So, you know, and it's automatically doing it. So if you go in and spend 2 hours repricing your hundreds of items or thousands of items that you have, immediately their repricer is going to go 10 cents below it. You just wasted all that time. But the other reason is when there's activity on a listing, if a title gets changed, if items sell, or if the prices change, or many other things, almost anything that happens on a listing, Amazon sees that as activity. It doesn't just have to be a sale. So it's going to see activity. It's going to send more people to that. Almost any search that you run as a customer is going to have many, many results. So the more activity it is, the more Amazon's going to show those results. Hey, Darlene. We can go through Be Cool again, and we can go through some other things. Todd's really an expert in repricing and all of those external tools. He's on my team, he works for me as well. But if you go to, and I know there's a ton of stuff on the website, but if you go in there and just a second, I'll have Valerie post some links.
videos, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So Valerie is getting the videos right now. She'll post them in the chat. But we've already done several webinars on Be Cool. We even had one of their head guys there, I think one of their lead programmers, come on, and we did the whole hour webinar with them talking about the software. And Todd has gone through, showed you every setting, how you want to reprice it, what they all do, you know, what you really want to focus on, what you don't, showing you his own account and how he runs everything. So that information's still there. If we need to revisit it, of course, we can do that. But if you post the link, Valerie's just posted the discount page. We're not sure if that's valid right now, but if it doesn't work for you, let us know. We'll contact them. Right. So we'll make sure that the discount's still working.
You have a couple questions.
Okay.
So, you know what, while we're still on this, we'll get back to John's question, but Santosh said he's trying to figure out how much higher he can price his FBA price if the only other seller is
you know, there's no real, I don't know if anybody heard Valerie, but, you know, there's, right. But in response to Santosh's question, how much higher can you price over merchant fulfilled and still get the buy box? And if you're getting it regularly and they're not giving that merchant fulfilled buyer the buy box, they're not going to. You know, I would say 90% of the time or more, a merchant fulfilled seller is not going to get a buy box. Amazon is not catering to those people. They're catering to their prime buyers, and prime buyers do not want to buy from merchant fulfilled sellers. They want to buy on Prime. The whole point of getting a Prime membership is to get the 2-day shipping, is to get, you know, that hassle-free returns. That, you know, that's the two major selling points, and that's what people expect. You know, myself as a buyer, I don't want to buy from merchant fulfilled sellers. You know, I just don't want to do it. Like I was saying earlier, I've just had so many problems. They just don't want to let you do returns. They just give you so much trouble. I want to click a button and do a return. And, you know, if I have to pay return shipping, I have to pay it. They don't care. I mean, they're already paying $100 just for the opportunity to buy from you. You know, so act like you're a premium seller selling to a premium client. And that's what they are. They're not afraid to pay that extra money. They're not afraid to pay $100 a month or $100 a year just to be able to give you their money. You know, so act like you're a premium seller. You know, don't use Saran wrap. You know, act like you're a seller on the largest marketplace in the world, and your buyers will act the same way. I know that doesn't answer the question, but what we do is, if we have the buy box, and the reason why we like Be Cool over all the dozens or hundreds of different options out there is it will keep raising the price until it loses the buy box. So it's going to raise it up 10 cents, another 10 cents, or $1, or whatever it has to do until it loses the buy box, and then it's going to keep drop it down until it gets it again. So it's going to make sure it keeps the buy box. As long as it, of course, as long, you know, as it fits within your selling requirements and the rules that you set. John, you need an ungating server? Yeah, we work with a great one, and we have a link to it, ungating.shawnmayo.com. It's actually employees that used to work for me that went and started their own company. They have ungated about 160 clients or people that I've referred to them, along with people that they've gotten on their own. Trina and Robin, it's called TNR Ungating. Right, Valerie just posted the link. They are great. I will guarantee that they get you ungated. If they don't, and they will work until they do. But if they can't, I'll make sure you get a refund. So that's something that we have for our Mastermind members and other paid clients. But they will guarantee that you will get ungated in grocery, health, or beauty. If you need ungated in something else, I say don't pay for it because all those will automatically ungate people. About once a month, they'll turn it on for a few times a year, a few times, a few days at a time. And usually I'm told about it and I'll share it in the Mastermind group. And I believe you're already ungated in all the hard ones, the shoes and clothing from the last time we talked. So definitely use them. They're also doing, I believe, 10% off right now at that link. So usually it's $200 a month, but just for October, they dropped it down to $180. I don't know if they're going to keep doing that for us for a while, but right now it's $180. So, I mean, really you can't lose. I mean, you can make that back in a week selling in some of those things. And, you know, especially in beauty and health and grocery right now, there's so much stuff going on for, okay. I wasn't sure what was going on over there. You were doing stuff in front of the camera. I wasn't sure what was going on.
Sorry, everybody.
So to get back to that, you know, there's so much stuff for Q4. Halloween, you're kind of running out of time getting the stuff in, but you're going to have Thanksgiving, you're going to have Christmas, you got Hanukkah, and there's, I mean, just for Halloween, there was so much stuff available. You know, as far as food, I mean, we were going crazy. I posted a bunch of stuff. Target and Walmart have so many exclusives, so much pumpkin stuff, you know, baking supplies, and even not the seasonal stuff. There's so much stuff that's just people want because of the time of year, because people are baking cookies for their grandkids and having parties and like all that baking stuff at Walmart. I mean, we sell so much of that stuff that's not even like holiday related. You know, like the chocolate cubes and the, you know, the stuff to make, you know, the little cups to make dessert stuff in there out of chocolate, and, you know, all that random baking stuff just sells great that people can't find in certain areas. And, you know, I've seen this over and over again. I mean, we just got here to Chicago, I don't know, 2 or 3 days ago. But, I mean, it's really opened my eyes. You go to downtown Chicago, and this is the same for all big cities. Los Angeles and New York City especially. And people live on, you know, Army bases, and people in Alaska. You know, if you drive in downtown Chicago, that takes me 2 hours to get where I'm at from there. People don't want to get in a car to go to a grocery store. If they want something, it's so much easier. Just go on Amazon, get the stuff delivered to them. It's not worth the trouble to go. You know, and if you're living on the 12th floor and got to carry bags up and go to a parking garage 3 blocks down. And there's just, you know, there's so many reasons that people would want to buy on Prime that, you know, it's, you know, you got to think not where you're at, but, you know, the people who live in an apartment building that don't want to go up the 10 flights of stairs, and, you know, a million other reasons that I've seen for myself over the last 72 hours. You know, there's just so much stuff in grocery. I mean, you really want to, you know, if you don't want to get engaged in the other stuff, or, you know, you don't, I understand everybody doesn't have $600 to get engaged in 3 categories. But, you know, if you can only do one, do grocery. And it's the same thing with makeup. This, or, you know, all that beauty stuff. You know, there's fall colors and Christmas colors, and there's just so much stuff out there. For that all year long, of course. I mean, I'm known as a grocery guy, so of course I'm talking about groceries because we buy so much of it. But you know, every category, there's a ton of stuff in every season as well. So another question from Sarah: is it easier to find non-restricted products once you're ungated? Well, I mean, here's the thing. Go out, and if you want to get ungated in grocery and don't know if it's worth it for you, then go out and look at grocery. Or, you know, if you're using tactical arbitrage, look online for those products before you even get ungated. See how much awesome stuff there is in those categories, you know, and see if it's worth it. You know, if you find the stuff, well, it's still going to be there when you get ungated in a couple of days or in a week. Oh, okay. You can ask them down here. So over 50% of the stuff you look at is restricted. Well, you know, there's brand restrictions, and there's also category restrictions. So, you know, if you're looking at grocery stuff, there's very few brand restrictions in grocery, but there are a ton of, you know, there's a lot of category restrictions. So grocery, beauty, health are the main ones. And, you know, things like shoes, clothing, luggage, automotive, these are all gated categories. Are there brand restrictions? There are very few brand restrictions in grocery, beauty, and health. Of course, you can look at, we have put together what I believe is the, it's a massive list, Valerie says, but I believe it is the most complete list of actual brand restrictions and ingredient restrictions available for Amazon sellers. And of course, it's included in your Mastermind membership. Log into ShawnMayo.com, go to Mastermind Basic, and you'll see the heading. It's something about restrictions, brand restrictions, product restrictions, whatever it is. Valerie just posted the link. You know, so you can see some of the stuff, but I can tell you, you know, there's only a handful of brands, mostly items related to formula. There's maybe 3 or 4 formula brands that are restricted. You can't sell them in grocery, but like, what is the one that, there's some that you can't sell products in grocery, but you can sell the same products in baby. I forget what that is. One with the baby on the front. So, am I missing something here, Rob? Okay. As for new brand restrictions, are they grandfathering you in if you sold a brand prior? Again, you know, I hate to say that, you know, things are never that cut and dry with Amazon, but you can talk to 10 other sellers. You can see it in the other groups, people saying, I can't sell Legos, and somebody else saying, I can still sell Legos. So, you know, it really depends. If you sold, and what I believe is happening, and what I've talked to a lot of other coaches and bigger sellers, is if you have, you know, a long, I wouldn't even say long running history, but if you have a good selling history for a certain brand, I think they're not gating you in it. So the only thing you can do is see if you're restricted from selling Legos now, or whatever the brand is. You know, if you're restricted from selling it, then you're restricted. If you're not, then I wouldn't worry about it, you know, for now. But you should not be holding yourself down to any single product or brand. You know, you've got, you know, you have a lot of options out there. And if you're banned from selling anything, it doesn't matter, you know, if it's Nike or Lego or you know, even if, you know, with craft or whatever it is, you're still going to be have plenty of items to sell. There are hundreds of thousands of products out there and brands that, you know, you can sell. So if you can't sell one thing, move on and sell something else. It's not the end of the world. No matter what it is, it's not the end of the world. There's plenty of other stuff to sell. So don't worry about the people complaining. If your newsfeed is full of people complaining, then, you know, you need to find new friends. You need to find new people selling. They're not out for your best interest. You know, I'm out for your best interest. I get nothing from you not being able to sell anymore. I have a business. You know, I don't need, you know, your $100 a month, you know, to feed my children. You know, what I need is for you to become a success. And, you know, if you quit selling on Amazon, it's not going to do you any good. It's not going to do me any good. For one thing, you're not going to be my client anymore because you won't be able to afford to pay me. But, you know, I do this because I want to help people, not, you know, not to collect your $100 a month. So, you know, if you can't sell something, fine, sell something else. If you can't ever get the buy box and the stuff don't sell, well, lower it or return it or throw it away and move on to something you can't sell. There's just so much stuff out there. I mean, just in the, you know, there's well over 100 million products listed on Amazon. you're only going to sell a very small portion of that. So John wanted to know, is asking, am I physically going to the grocery store? Yes and no. I'm not physically going to the grocery store anymore, but I mean, somebody who works for me does. You know, what we've had great success with is finding college students, and they basically scan every product on a whole aisle, top to bottom, and you know, and then we make a list of stuff to buy that we go and buy it, and it's worked out really well.
Here, you have a question up here lower on it. That's way up. Do you know the policy for selling in Q4 toys and games if you are a newer seller?
Okay, so who was that?
That's John.
So John, that policy, they send that email out every single year, and that only applies to merchant fulfilled. So I don't know if you're able to sell FBA or not, but you know, those rules, which I don't know, that I can't quote that email offhand because it doesn't apply to me, because it's only for FBA sellers. I mean, it's only for merchant fulfilled sellers. So I don't know if you're able to get in or deal with that. You haven't gotten back to me on what's currently going on, but I'm sure we'd be able to get you to be able to sell stuff. Oh, okay, great. So you got it worked out. You were able to get in past the deadline. That email about toys, it's a little confusing, and I see hundreds of messages on Facebook groups every single year, but that only applies, and it only says it once, but it's only for merchant fulfilled sellers. So if you're a merchant fulfilled, it says you have to sell so many by this date to be able to sell toys, but that's only if you're fulfilling yourself. If you're sending items into FBA, you can sell toys. Okay, one is me.
Okay, you ready for the next one?
Yeah, Valerie's going to come with the next question. Yep.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna
Right.
be back.
That's fine.
So Valerie got a question from Bob, the pros and cons. It keeps every time we get a message. But it was the pros and cons of. Well, what was your question? You want to know the pros and cons of.
The only question I've seen from Lally is about using the box contents, and we already covered that. Commingling. So yeah, I've been thinking about commingling a lot lately, and it was always my opinion in the past that commingling, and if you don't know what commingling is, it's where you only use the barcode, the actual barcode from the manufacturer, so you wouldn't be putting your own label with your own FN SKU. So you would be sending it in, and it gets mixed up with everybody else who sells that same product. So, and Amazon claims to know who everything belongs to, but here's the huge pro of this. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where if I send an item and it's in California and somebody else is in Pennsylvania, it's going to send the one that is able, and that's who's going to get the buy box. But here's the thing about commingling. If you send 100 of a product and, you know, it gets split up among a few warehouses, and somebody else is sending them in commingled, you know, and, you know, some stuff is in California and some stuff is in Pennsylvania, and it gets split up all over the country. Well, then your stuff is in Pennsylvania, other people's stuff is in California, some people's is in Tennessee and Kentucky or wherever. So you'll be able to get the buy box a whole lot more, because it doesn't matter who can get it first, because it's all mixed together. So when your product sells, they might actually be shipping the box that belonged to somebody else. But of course you get paid, and you know, one comes off of your inventory, but the physical inventory is all mixed up together. So a lot more people are getting that. The con is kind of that, of course, your customer is now getting somebody else's stuff. So if it's, you know, if maybe they send a counterfeit product and it got sent to your seller, it's going to go against you. But but you know that product was commingled, so they really can't blame you because they didn't actually get your product, and that's easily fightable. So that's the ups and downs. You may get the buy box a whole lot more, and that's what the people who are doing it. That's what I've seen, and you may be better off that way. And even if, let's say you have a product that doesn't have, and of course, some of the things to note about that: everything you sell is not going to be commingled. If an item has an expiration date, or is in grocery or health or beauty, those items are not eligible. There's tons of other stuff that's not eligible. But the main thing is basically if it has an expiration date. But if you don't have a UPC, you can still do it. You can still print a label for commingled items, and it's just going to have the ASIN on it. It won't have, you don't have an FNSKU, and you don't print a label for stuff usually. But if you don't have a barcode, or if it's not the same barcode, you could print out an Amazon label, but it's going to have the ASIN on it instead of like an FNSKU like you normally would. But you don't have to put labels on anything, unless it's falls under one of those categories. So you can turn commingled on also whenever you want. So you can turn it on for one shipment and turn it off for another shipment. So maybe you want to have some stuff you don't want commingled. A high chance of, if you send in Nike shoes, for example, and you may not want those commingled because there's a high chance of them being counterfeits, or toys, or you don't want to commingle any toys because there's so many counterfeits. Then you can just turn it off whenever you want. You go in the settings, turn commingled on and off whenever. Commingling has to be, that is correct, Lolly. Commingling, you can turn it on and off whenever you want, but it's for the shipment. So if you commingle one shipment, you can not commingle the next shipment, but you can't do it in the same shipment, obviously.
There's only one last, and it goes back to brand research.
Okay.
Regarding your, real quick, so you turn off commingling perhaps just before doing choice shipments, or something you do not want commingled?
I don't do that. I don't commingle myself, but I mean, we have a lot of clients who are, and we have more clients that seem to be doing it all the time. I was just using toys as an example. If there's something you don't want to commingle, then you can turn it off. And then, after the shipment's over, you do it in Seller Central. I can get you the link to where to do it. I'm not saying to do it, for toys, or do it for shoes, not do it for shoes, or any of that. I was just giving an example that you could do that, if you didn't feel comfortable to begin with. I would say if something's going to get counterfeited, then don't worry about it. You're not going to lose your account over a commingled item being counterfeited. And if you have items that can't be commingled, it's not going to be a problem. They're going to send, they'll send them in different boxes. So it'll be creating two different shipments. It's going to create one shipment for the commingled. So you may have, let's say, AVP1, which is in Pennsylvania. You may have some products that are commingled and some that aren't. It's going to create two different boxes. So the stuff that's commingled is not going to go in the same box. So you could have two shipments to the same warehouse. But if you're having groceries or other items that expire or items that aren't eligible, they're going to go ahead and put those in two separate shipments for you. So you can, when you're creating your listings, if you're using Scan Power, Seller Central, whatever, it's going to separate those out for you. You don't have to say, oh, this has an expiration date, so I'm not going to send this. I'm going to wait till I get done with this and send one that's not commingled. Amazon knows the difference. It's going to tell you this item requires labeling, so you'll have to print out your labels and do that. John said, you answer a question for me about buying grocery OA. You said you do that, but sometimes expiration dates are a problem. You said sometimes you need to do returns. You mean return an item to a store you bought it off of? So, for example, if we're buying online at Walmart, you can return that to the physical store. We can go to walmart.com, bring our receipt, and return it to our local Walmart. What I say about buying OA, not just groceries, but items that expire, is that it's going to be in the middle of the road for you. So what I mean by that is if an item, you buy canned goods, for example, you buy some Spam, which is a great seller on Amazon, and you know it has a 2 or 3 year expiration date. You can't expect them to send you an item that's going to expire in 3 years. What you should expect is that the item's going to be in the middle of that, a year to a year and a half out. So the same is for short run items. If you're buying snack cakes that may only have a 4-month expiration date, you can't expect them to send you them 110 days out, which is basically the closest to still be able to send it to Amazon and get it checked in. So, you know, expect it to expire in a month or 2 months. But it doesn't matter if you have that problem, you know, return it. You know, say these items are too close to expiring, and usually they're going to pay for return shipping, but we would return them to the store. You just do it once a month, once every couple of weeks. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's not a ton of stuff. I know what to expect. And if you know what to expect going in, then you're not going to have as much heartache. You know, don't set yourself up for failure. Don't say, well, everybody else is getting, you know, stuff that expires in a month, but I'm going to be the one that, you know, gets the magic shipment that expires in 5 months. It's not just going to happen. You know, if you go in knowing what to expect and, you know, what you should expect is what I tell you. And if you don't understand what to expect, then just ask. And, you know, we probably had the same situation. So, you know, just expect it to be in the middle of the road of the expiration date. If the expiration date's 100 days out, why would they take it back? Well, you don't need a reason to return products. You know, you don't have to prove why you want to return something. You can take anything to Walmart or whatever other store and return it. And, you know, you tell them it's too close to expiring for you. You know, you need products that are at least a few months out, you know, and this is about to expire. I mean, if it's something you need to ship back. If not, then take it to a store. You know, you don't have to prove why you want to return things. They have a return policy. As long as you follow it, then you can return the products. You know, don't put too much into it. But, you know, think like a consumer, not, you know, like somebody who's reselling.
Have you answered Sam's question regarding police brand restriction? I find that I'm restricted on the bigger brands. Did you do that one?
No.
Okay.
I didn't see it.
He said he finds that he's restricted on the bigger brands like Marvel, Hasbro, DC, etc.
Right.
But he's able to sell some of other lesser known brands. So what's the best way to work on toys with these brand restrictions? Naturally, he's trying to find items that he's not restricted on. Some of the more in-demand toys are brand restricted.
Right. So there's a lot of brand restrictions now. I mean, it's really quite easy to get unrestricted in those brands. So, let's say I know Marvel and Hasbro, for a fact, you can get unrestricted going through Entertainment Earth. So if you set up a wholesale account with Entertainment Earth, you can buy products and request a letter from them proving that, you know, that they're authorized to sell those to you. And they'll give you a letter from Hasbro or from Marvel. This is how we got restricted last year to sell Star Wars Episode 7. And it was right through Entertainment Earth. They had a letter from Hasbro saying they're licensed to sell Hasbro and Star Wars products. Of course, you have to have at least $50,000 in sales in toys to have gotten ungated in Star Wars. And I don't know if it's that easy to do that anymore, but check with Amazon for the restrictions for that specific brand. Some things are charging, you know, $1,000 to apply. It may not be worth it just to be able to sell that brand. And don't worry about finding profitable products. You know, if you have to spend $100 or $200 to buy some products that you may only break even on, then so what? Do that to break even so you can get authorized, and then you can buy those products anywhere. You can go to Walmart and get them when nobody else is unrestricted. You know, so do whatever you have to do to get ungated in those brands. And if you need specific help, I mean, I can walk you through the process, but it's very simple. You know, open a wholesale account, buy something, and send that stuff to Amazon. Of course, your first step should be contacting Amazon and finding out how to get ungated. And usually that just means, you know, trying to list something, and it's going to take you to the page to get ungated in it. Okay, so we're already late. I know we started a little late, so and I don't have any problem going over if people have more questions for me. But if not, I mean, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I know I did have some messages in my chat. Were there any other questions, Valerie?
No,
okay, so so if I missed you, go ahead and let me know. Of course, this will be recorded, so we'll get this up as soon as. Oh, thanks, Lally. You are the best. I love you guys. All right, we'll go ahead and wrap it up then. Any questions? Post them in the Facebook group, or send me a PM. I'm trying to answer the questions as quick as I can. Please, there's a lot of questions that get posted that I don't see for quite a while. Please, if it's something that you need me to answer, tag me in the post. You know, hit @ and start typing my name, and my name will pop up. You can click on it if you don't know how to tag. It's very easy, and then it'll pop right up on my notifications, and I'll be able to see that message right away. Or send me a private message. You know, we're meeting a ton of people this week, and doing a lot of meetings that's going to help us grow our business. So, you know, but I will definitely do all I can to help you guys out. For products that have expiration dates that the manufacturer puts on them, like supplements, grocery, etc., Amazon usually requires an expiration date sticker. You still recommend doing that even for a smaller bottle. So no, I never recommend that you put your own expiration date unless it's required. So look at the expiration date page on Amazon, and that's going to have all the information you need. 2-digit months, 2-digit day, 4-digit year. The 4-digit year is required in no matter what the format is. You can also do a 2-digit month and a 4-digit year, but it always requires a 4-digit year. If it's in the correct format and it's readable by the human eye and says Best Buy or expiration date or something like that, then you don't need your own label. And what we do, if it's a small label, a tiny label, we may cover it up and then put it in a bag, or if we put it in a box, then it's going to have that that information on the outside of the bag. We don't put a giant label on a tiny little bottle. You know, we use, I believe, 1/2 by 3/4 inch Avery labels. You can buy them at Walmart for $1.98, like for 525 of them. We have a link to every piece of software and every piece of hardware we use on the Mastermind site on ShawnMayo.com. If you look at Mastermind Basic, we have one that says hardware we use, one that says software we use. Under hardware includes all the labels, all the stickers, all the cover-up labels and expiration date labels, all that stuff. So I believe it's like $6 or $7 if you buy it on Amazon, but we put links just so people could see the listings. But if you go to Walmart, you can buy those labels, you know, 525 of them for $2, and we'll cover that little bit of stuff up, and then we'll put it in a bag. Even if it doesn't need a bag, we'll put it in a bag and put an expiration date on the outside of the bag, and that makes it, you know, look a lot nicer. Again, it goes back to being a professional, selling on the biggest consumer marketplace in the world. And you need to act like and look like a professional product. I hope that answers your question. And a big question a lot of people have, okay, so Santosh, I see, I would get rid of that Amazon extension you have. It's putting an affiliate tag in everything you get, so it's paying somebody else for everything you're buying on Amazon. And I believe that's it's an Amazon, or it's a Chrome extension for the calculator. There's a lot of different ones, but that one is installing an affiliate tag. Right, so under data sensitive products, right, that's exactly the one I'm talking about. So the problem that a lot of people have is it says 32 point. It does not have to be 32 point. It's only when you're sending in case pack products that's on the outside of the master box. It only has to be readable by the human eye. And if it's human readable, then that's all you need. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up now, and we'll get this recording up as soon as we can. Any questions, PM me, post in the group, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.